When we think of Vikings, we often imagine fierce, bearded warriors wielding axes and conquering new lands. But what about the women of the Viking age? Among them was Freydis Eriksdottir, a remarkable figure who defied societal norms and expectations to become an influential leader in her own right. From her legendary feats of bravery to her role in shaping Viking history, Freydis' story is one of courage, determination, and a relentless spirit that refused to be tamed. Join the historical saga as we delve into the life of this extraordinary woman and discover how one woman truly changed history. Fierce warrior women were not uncommon among the Vikings, and Freydis Eriksdottir was perhaps the most notorious of them all. Born to Erik the Red, Freydis earned her reputation as a ferocious shield maiden through her exploits in Vinland, where she struck fear into the hearts of the indigenous people. However, her ruthless behavior towards her people marked her as a traitor, solidifying her notoriety in Viking history. Appearing in two sagas written in medieval Iceland known as the Vinland sagas, Freydis Eriksdottir is a remarkable female character whose story combines historical facts and legend. These sagas describe the Viking settlement of Iceland and Greenland before detailing the adventures of a group of Norse explorers who journeyed from Greenland. Freydis' character is unforgettable, and her presence in these sagas adds depth and intrigue to the overall narrative. But who was Freydis Eriksdottir really? Freydis Eriksdottir. Although Freydis' life is mostly shrouded in legend, it is a fact that she was the daughter of Erik the Red, as her name Eriksdottir translates to Erik's daughter, similar to how Leif Erikson translates to Erik's son. Erik, a notorious Viking, was banished from Norway to Iceland along with his family due to his father's crime of murder. This incident was the last straw for his fellow Vikings, who found him too unpredictable and volatile to keep around. Erik could also not live in Norway due to a similar murder committed by himself or one of his sons. Later, Erik faced his banishment from Iceland for the same crime. While in Iceland, Erik discovered a new land called Greenland, which he went on to establish. After his exile, Erik returned to Iceland and gathered 500 men to go to Greenland. In Iceland, Erik met Thjodhild, who became his wife and the mother of Leif Erikson. Freyd's mother's name is unknown, and she was likely illegitimate. Nevertheless, she grew up with her father and brothers, Thorvald, Thorstein, and the famous explorer Leif Erikson. Freydis married Thorvald, but he is portrayed unfavorably in the sources and is considered weak compared to his ferocious wife. The Greenland saga and the saga of Erik the Red mention Freydis' accomplishments. The stories suggest that Freydis inherited her father's volatile temperament, with both describing her as brave but hot-tempered. However, in one account, she is portrayed as ruthless and untrustworthy. Although Leif was Erik's son, it is uncertain whether Freydis was a legitimate daughter or born from an affair. It is also unclear whether she was a full sister or a half-sister to Leif, but the legend suggests that they got along well as siblings. Freydis continued the family tradition of exploration and discovery and followed in her family's footsteps. However, much of the information about her life is based on legends, including the fact that she is only mentioned in two Icelandic sagas, which provide differing accounts of her life. Terrifying the natives of Vinland, Freydis gained fame for her journey to the New World, following the footsteps of her brother Leif Erikson. In 1001 AD, Leif reached Newfoundland, Canada, which he named Vinland due to the discovery of grapes. After exploring the area, he returned to Greenland to inform others of his findings. Some Vikings followed in his path and visited the New World, but only a few. Freydis was one of them, initially joining Thorfinn Karlsefni's expedition in 1004 AD. Unlike her brother, who appears to have peacefully explored the Americas, Freydis had her fair share of conflicts with the Native Americans. According to reports, the clash came about due to unsuccessful trading attempts with the locals that they called Skallings. Given Freydis' temper, her actions may have contributed to the conflict. As per the saga, following the failed trade, the Native Americans attacked the Viking camp at night, possibly using catapults. The Vikings had never seen such weapons before and were frightened, causing most of them to flee in panic. Legend has it that only Freydis, who was 8 months pregnant at the time, dared to stay behind and fight. She grabbed a sword and began hitting her chest with it, screaming despite her pregnancy. It is said that the locals were so taken aback and frightened by the sight that they simply fled. I hope you're enjoying learning about Freydis Eriksdottir, the Viking woman who defied all odds. If you have any thoughts or comments about this incredible story, don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section down below. Freydis Eriksdottir in Norse legends. Freydis Eriksdottir's existence is uncertain, as there is no concrete evidence about her existence except for the Norse legends. However, Icelandic sagas provide some information about her life, such as her likely birth year of 970 CE and her participation in the Viking expedition to Vinland around 1000 CE. Although Leif Erikson is credited with discovering North America during this time, Freydis, despite her lower status, was said to have accompanied the group and settled there. Evidence of a community at Land's O Meadows in Newfoundland with female tools like spindles has been found. The stories about Freydis' actions at the settlement in Vinland are conflicting, as they are portrayed differently in two Viking legends, the Saga of the Greenlanders and Erik the Red's Saga. The Saga of the Greenlanders. The Saga of the Greenlanders, likely written in the 13th or 14th centuries, tells us of the Vikings' journey to Vinland around 1000 CE, and portrays Freydis Eriksdottir as a volatile murderer. The saga depicts Freydis as an arrogant woman who married her husband primarily for his wealth. She joined her brothers Helgi and Finnbogi on the expedition to Vinland because of her desire for riches. They agreed to take 30 fighting men each, but Freydis secretly added 5 more warriors to her own side, hoping to earn more profits than her brothers. Once they arrived in Vinland, Freydis' greed caused a rift between her and her brothers, who wanted to share the profits equally. Freydis pretended to reconcile with Finnbogi to get his large ship, but instead she returned home and accused her brothers of beating her. She demanded her husband avenge her, but when he hesitated to kill their women, Freydis took an axe and murdered them all. Though she tried to hide her actions, her brother, Leif Erikson, learned the truth, and Freydis became an outcast. Some historians believe that this portrayal of Freydis as a heartless killer is Christian propaganda aimed at discrediting her for not following Christian values. Erik the Red Saga. The 13th century writing of Erik the Red's Saga is commonly accepted, although Viking heralds suggest it was written later than the Saga of the Greenlanders. This saga portrays Freydis in a more favorable light. As with the Saga of the Greenlanders, Freydis is depicted as a member of the Viking expedition to Vinland, where they encounter indigenous people, or skallings, according to historical extra. Their initially peaceful interactions eventually turn violent. During the attack, when Freydis is 8 months pregnant, the Viking herald reports that she encouraged the men to fight back against the skallings and even offered to fight herself. Despite trying to flee with the others, Freydis lags and finds a dead man's sword. She then bravely confronts the skallings by beating her bare chest with a sword, scaring them away. This portrayal contrasts with her previous characterizations, particularly in terms of her bravery. The fate of Freydis. The outcome of Freydis' life is uncertain, and Leif Erikson's prediction that fate would not be kind to her and her descendants remains debatable, as they are not mentioned in any other sources. The absence of any record about her and her family may be considered evidence of Eriksson's prophecy being fulfilled, as being forgotten could be deemed as the worst fate possible. It is worth noting that the sagas were written by men who tended to be wary of strong Viking women that challenged gender roles and stereotypes. One has to wonder, had Freydis' actions been committed by her Viking brothers, how would they have been portrayed in the sagas? In summary, Freydis Eriksdottir was a Viking woman who defied the societal norms of her time and left a lasting impact on history. Her story is one of courage, determination, and resilience that inspires all those who face adversity. Freydis' legacy reminds us of the importance of standing up for what we believe in, even in the face of great danger and opposition. Her accomplishments demonstrate that women have always been capable of achieving great things, and that their contributions to history should never be overlooked or underestimated. Freydis Eriksdottir truly changed the course of history, and her legacy will continue to inspire future generations for years to come. But tell us, what are your thoughts on Freydis' character? Do you perceive her as a ruthless and malevolent woman whose actions could be described as evil? Or do you believe that she was a misunderstood individual who was simply trying to survive in the harsh world of the Vikings? Let us know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button below and turn on the notifications to never miss out on any future videos.